know yourself and what's important to you in the relationship. Because the other part of, the essential part of a relationship we're going to talk about is communication, and communicating your needs when you're in a relationship. And saying, look, I need to feel special. I need attention. I need it. That's me. And if you give me attention, I'm going to be happy and we're going to get along great. If you work all the time and ignore me and that kind of thing, I'm going to start freaking out. So you want to be able to express it. This is important for me in a relationship. And if you're, yes?
I had a question about, and it may be in here, if you and your couple are very similar.
Yeah. If you, it is in there.
And you
there's
both
actually,
have the same needs, primary needs.
That's a very good point. I was talking to Michael about this as well. Let's say he has his first need of contribution, I have my first need of contribution. So if we're in a relationship together, then it's great because we have all the top three needs are the same. However, we could run the risk of both of us wanting to help other people and being distracted by other people and not focusing on us, because we're so motivated by contribution. So even having this, you don't necessarily have to have the same needs as your partner to get along. This isn't about compatibility necessarily, because what I want to really help you to understand is really, you know, I don't want to say anyone can be compatible, because obviously there's people who are not compatible. But you can create compatibility sitting where you are with knowing the other person's needs if you're willing to meet them. Does that make sense? That's really what I'm talking about now. So it's about knowing yourself, knowing the other person's needs who's sitting in front of you, and then creating compatibility and saying, okay, well, you need attention, and you need love and connection, and you need security. So I don't need any of those things are not that important to me. However, I know to be in a relationship with you, I have to make sure that I give you those things, or it's not going to work. Does that make sense? That's how you use this test. And if you want an extra copy of the test to have somebody else do, let me know, and I'll get you an extra copy. I may have had extra copies here. I couldn't find them.
Yes, they're right here.
Oh, great. We have extra copies. So if you need an extra copy, then we'll get you that, and you can have somebody do it. So, you know, there's a couple of other handouts. I'm going to give you some worksheets, but I'm going to give you some to take home, because I'd like for you to spend some extra time and really go through these exercises. I'm going to give you, let's say, another probably 2 worksheets here and probably 3 to take home. But I really want you to spend some time together working on these exercises at home. Does anybody have any feedback for me about this test, about what they got for themselves or what they saw? That was, yes?
Actually, I'm curious, the variety and certainty thing throws me off. What exactly, I guess I could read this right here, but what do you mean by it?
Okay.
Is it just based on sex?
No, that's, it's part, it could be,
telling me?
whoops. It could be part.
Yeah, and I'm not understanding what that
Okay,
means.
well, let me read you too. The variety and uncertainty means, and I want to be real specific here so you don't think it's sex. I mean, obviously that's part of it for a guy, because that's, you know, what guys think about all the time. No, I'm serious. I'm doing a radio show on a sports radio network for, God, 3 or 4 months now. And, you know, and the texts come up while I'm on the air, and all they talk about is like, have her talk about sex. What does she look like? Tell her to talk about, it's all guys. So it's like, that's all they care about, really. I mean, that's a generalization, but I think at some level it's got to be true, right, ladies? No, I'm teasing. I'm teasing. So, just kidding. Okay, so variety. Variety and challenges that exercise our emotional and physical range. Our bodies, our minds, our emotional well-being all require uncertainty, exercise, physical fitness, that's part of variety. Suspense, like scary movies, or something to that effect. I mean, you know, some people are like adrenaline junkies, and that's, you know, they need a lot of suspense. But then other people might just watch the news and be satisfied with their variety, like, ooh, what happened? Somebody got killed? You know, that kind of thing. So, code words for uncertainty and variety are instability, change, entertainment, suspense, exertion, and surprise.
Well, that's our whole entire relationship.
There you go.
So he actually likes that.
Yeah, so that's
He
good.
likes my unstableness.
That's there you go. There you go. Yeah. So that's, and you know, I have always said that too. I'm like, being in a relationship with me is like being in a relationship with like 6 different people. So you're all, you never know who's going to show up. It's going to be fun, right? Does that help you, Jenny, a little bit? Yeah. So it's not all about that. It's just about, it can be just about having something fresh, or like going to the gym, or just not having a 100% predictable life. a
Like not
constant-
going to the same restaurant every single
Right.
weekend.
Where
Okay,
some
so it
people-
doesn't necessarily have to do with you and your marriage and sex.
No, absolutely not. No, it could for some people, but it doesn't just have to do with that. It could have, and people get variety in a number of different ways. It could, like Debbie said, it could be not going to the same place. Like some people want to go to the same restaurant all the time. They love it. I love Capital Grill. I can go like always once every week. But you know, some people like, okay, I want to go here. I want to try this, something new all the time. Or exercise, exertion, that kind of thing. But I can talk to you more about it afterwards too.
Okay.
So, so what you want to do is this. You want to look in, again, I'm going to hand these out. I don't want you to complete all of this right now. I just want you to take a look at it, but don't start completing it, because some of this I want you to do at home on your own. But I am going to, I'm sorry, no, don't fill this out. I want you to do some of this at home, but don't fill it out right now, but I do want to just to discuss a couple of things on this. So the way that, what you want to look at when you're dealing with human needs psychology and these needs, is you want to look at yourself and say, first, how am I meeting the needs, or how have I, again, if you're not in a relationship, use your last relationship and say, how did I meet my last, husband, boyfriend, girlfriend's needs? Did I meet their need for certainty? You can, if you're in a relationship, you ask yourself. Oops. So you want to look, first of all, number one, you want to look at from my perspective. How am I meeting my partner's need for all of these? From my perspective. And this is going to take you through it in the worksheets. We're not going to do right now again, because it's just, this takes a little bit more time. So number one, think about it. Just think a little bit about it. Number one, from my perspective, how am I meeting all of these needs for my partner, or how did I? Okay? So from my perspective, in my current relationship, how am I meeting all of those needs? So just to give you an example, when I first got into this work about 4 or 5 months ago, Matt and I, we were having this issue that wouldn't go away. It was just constant. It was constant, and it had been there for years. And finally, one night, we were sitting in a room, I'll never forget it, and we were arguing. It was the same argument. It was the same one we've had for years. And all of a sudden it hit me, because I'm going through this work, that he did not feel significant. I was not meeting his need for significance. And I was meeting all the others, but not that one. And that was huge for him. And it was so weird, because he's been saying it for so long, and he uses the words. You've probably heard your partner say the words for hundreds of thousands of times, but you haven't heard it because you don't have this new information, or these glasses to see through. Now, when they're talking to you, you can say, oh, I'm not meeting that need. And when I got that, it completely shifted our relationship, because I started behaving differently. And it worked. It really, really worked. So, you want to look from your perspective and say, how am I meeting my partner's needs, or how did I in my last relationship? In all of those areas, all 6. Then you want to look at your partner's perspective, from their perspective. You can ask them. If you have a relationship, ask them. From your perspective, how am I meeting your needs in all of these areas? And then go through one by one. Let them tell you. Again, if for your last relationship, looking at my marriage, I can look back on it and say, okay, how did I meet the need for that? How did I meet the need for this and that and this and that variety? What didn't do too well? At all. Didn't do it. Well, I had babies and I was nursing and I was, I can have all these excuses of how I didn't meet the need for variety, and, I just wore shorts and t-shirts and Mephistos every single day of my marriage, but it doesn't matter. The bottom line is the variety was not being met. I did not meet his need for variety, period. Didn't do it. Not that it's bad or wrong or horrible, it's just news, it's information. Information is important. Why? Why is it good to have information about yourself and the other person?
So you can act on it.
So you can act on it, so you can do something. And if you don't act on it, it's useless.